We'll move to the Glendale Housing Authority, meeting of October 5th. Could I have a roll call, please?
Authority members: Draymond.
Here.
Friedman. Mincy.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Barazian.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chair Quintero.
Here. May we have your report?
The agenda for the October 5th, 2010 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, September 30th, 2010 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Next, please.
Next is approval of minutes.
I will move. However, there is one on September 28th, the chairman was absent.
Second. Having noted that, the minutes are approved and submitted. At 5 is oral communications. I have one card, Herbert Milano.
Housing Authority Chair Quintero, members of the Housing Authority, city staff, my name is Herbert Milano. You know, as I oftentimes hear the conversations with regard to housing, I always wondered why the city that grows generally, especially the past 10 years, at 1/2 of 1%, that's pretty much the growth of the city the past 10 years. Why cities don't, in general, plan out a goal, a standard goal with regard to growth. Let's say 300 housing units a year. And you define a goal of low-income housing, at a percentage of that number. If cities were to do that, you lay out the expectations with regard to what will be built. You can define from planning where it would be built. You can define controls concerning traffic. You can make plans with regard to parkland that is needed. You can look at the parking requirements. If you were to seriously consider the fact that everything is really driven by population increase, but we already pretty much have a de facto standard here in Glendale because it's a fairly well built out city. It is 1/2 of 1%. So I was penciling out those numbers and figured it comes out to around 330 or so housing units per year. You know, at 2.7, density, 2.7 persons per housing unit. If you were to do that, you set out goals for all the builders of the expectations. You'll be to some extent in the driver's seat as to how you will plan out the city's growth in the future. And it would allow you to truly plan out and be able to staff accordingly. Staff with regard to building and safety, staff with regard to planning, the staffing and the manpower required to be able to systematically, build out a city and plan well ahead the issues that we are now facing. This particular housing unit that we just discussed today is in Recreational Planning Area 10. The part of the city with the lowest per capita parkland. Our goal was 6 acres per thousand. This area has 0.012 acres per thousand. And then there's not too far away on, I think it's on Duran, there's another major building coming up on the corner. It's about 35 units. But if you look at the condition of the roads, terrible. If you look at the lack of parkland, terrible. If you look at our lack of parking that is available, on-street parking, terrible. Who is doing the planning? You take a planning area like this one, which is so clearly defined. You got Brand Boulevard on one side, Glendale Avenue on the other, you got the freeway, and you got Broadway. You got a significant amount of population here, right smack in the middle of town, with some very significant deficiencies. And this area continues to have a significant amount of buildings. So that's one point I wanted you to truly consider. The other has to do with affordability with regard to our utilities. I am paying, and for the past 3 years, I've been paying over 21 cents per kilowatt hour, which is about 60% more than I would have to pay had I had those units in Burbank. The problem that we have is that we have this structure of charging for water and electricity that is arcane, that is based on a model used by monopolies to say, we're going to give you this fixed charge for, let's say, the customer service, and we're going to give you this fixed charge because of the size of your pipe, and then the variable rate is the actual amount of usage. And if you look at the way the water rates are being proposed, it's reverse. so that those individuals who use the least get hit with a higher rate, because you're basically piling on the cost onto the fixed cost. It doesn't make sense. And I don't see why it cannot be charged volumetrically and adjusted such that those individuals who conserve pay the least, those individuals who use the most pay at a higher rate. It's part of the affordability of living. And I can tell you, I talk to my tenants and I know the difficulty they're having, significant difficulties in meeting their rent. I lower the rents, my income is less, and yet we find that our costs are going up. There is no sense of fairness or logic in the way this process is working. This thing is not affordable to a lot of people. And I think we have an opportunity now, especially as you're looking up the rates, to really rethink how you charge for water and electricity as part of the concept of having a livable, affordable city. Thank you very much.
Okay, next, please.
Any authority member or staff comments?
I hear none. Next. We have no new business.
I'll move we adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tuesday, October 5th, 2000.